after seeing Arsenal sign Gabriel Magalhaes, Lionel Messi decided to stay in La Liga and not join Manchester City. My name is Tinashe, and welcome to Talk Football. And I am joined this evening once again by my co-host Shiab Nabi. How are you guys doing?
Yeah, very good, very good. Realised
Yeah,
that
fine.
playing football 3 times a week is not good for me. I don't think I'm coping very well, but try my best.
Surely you get used to it.
I'm trying to, but the knees ache and stuff after a few days. So we'll see. I'll keep going.
No,
Keep
fair.
going.
Nabi, how about you? How you doing? We
I play
cannot hear
football
you.
0 times a week, so I'm feeling fine.
You were what, sorry?
So I play football 0 times a week, so I'm feeling fine.
Yeah, that's kind of similar to me at the moment. Not by
You're
choice.
cycling though, aren't you?
Yeah, that's the only thing I've been doing. But currently with the weather the way it's been recently, I've not been able to cycle. So yeah, kind of just sort of stuck indoors really, and with you guys on here. Um, so just to sort of before we really get into today's episode is essentially just going to be a quick roundup about fantasy, our teams, and sort of our thought processes in pulling our teams together. As I mentioned at the start, just a quick fire, I guess. Nabi, what are your thoughts on Messi deciding to stay at Barcelona?
I don't think it's too surprising, given all the legalities and complex situations he's in.
Yeah,
I
and
think he
that's
still
why.
wants to leave. He just doesn't want to create that much of a fuss about it.
Yeah. To be honest with me, when you're hearing him, it sounds like when he's speaking about the president of Barcelona, he doesn't sound too enthusiastic about him, to put it politely. But when he's actually speaking about Barcelona itself, he's got a lot of respect for the club. So yeah, much like you, I do think, as he stated, that he doesn't want to put the club through that process. So he will leave next year. Shabs, what are your thoughts on it?
I think I'm just disappointed, like everyone else, to be honest. I'm sure we would all want to have seen him in the Premier League, no matter which team he played for. And most likely, it would have been all of our rivals' teams rather than our own. I don't think United, Liverpool, or Arsenal would have been in for him. And it would have been Man City.
Yeah, I think
But
that's the only
even then,
team.
it would have just been nice to see him in the Premier League, just to see what he does. One thing I do know is Andy Robertson will be happy because he did say because Liverpool aren't in for him, he's happy that Lionel Messi if he just stays away from the Premier League. So and Robbo will be happy with that.
To be honest, I think any defender in the Premier League will be happy at the moment hearing that news that he's not going to be coming. Yeah, it is a bit of a shame in that sense. I guess on the footballing aspect of it. But anyway, getting on with today's show, I'm gonna kick us off with sort of my sort of thought process in terms of how I put my team together. With me, I generally like to
Yeah,
go for a midfielder and a striker that's quite pricey. So that end generally tends to be, the top performers. Your Aubameyang, KDBs, your Agueros, etc. Those are the. I normally like to just have one or two in terms of the attack and in midfield, and then sort of build from there. And but in terms of my backline, generally, we've had this discussion before, Shabs. I generally like to have all um, wing backs because up and down the line, and they get a lot of crosses into the box. Obviously, for teams that get a lot of crosses into the box, because obviously if a wing back gets an assist, extra points and so on. But yeah, and then we'll go to you, Nishabs. I don't know if mine's pretty brief, to be honest. As you can see, I don't put too much thought into it, but I'm not sure if you've got a different one for mine.
yeah, kind of similar. I do have certain players that I feel like should be in my team no matter what. It might be different players every season, but it's going to be from the big clubs. So, for example, this season, Aubameyang's moved into the midfield for the FPL.
Yep.
So I think with his goals that he scores and the fact that goals are 5 points in a midfield compared to 4 at striker, I think he's like a certainty that should be in most teams.
Yep.
I like to have one of the Liverpool fullbacks in my team just because clean sheets are quite common for our team and also at the same time they get a lot of assists. 2
They're
seasons in a row, record
expensive
breaking.
though. Your fullbacks, they're really
Expensive but
expensive.
worth it when they're breaking records and keeping clean sheets at the same time. Um, and then one expensive striker. And then I work around those three kind of players once I put them in and try and get a balance between some cheap, surprising players and then some more that you might be able to get some consistency out of. But I'm sure we'll dive into that further later on.
Yeah, Nabi.
Yeah, I'm very flustered this season. Because I think it's the hardest season I think going into because there's not a pre-season build-up you can look into, and there's 4 teams that aren't going to be playing the first game week. So it makes it very hard to try and pick teams, and there's players still to come in to clubs.
And potentially
So I've
leave
got
as well.
and leave. Yeah, so I've got a setup at the moment which is definitely going to change. But my usual tactic is I like to start with a kind of 3-5-2, getting as many midfielders as I can. Even though at the moment I've kind of got it set up for a 3-4-3, but that'll probably change. And I usually go with kind of who did really well for me the season before. So I would have liked to have De Bruyne in, but can't have him in from the start. So Manny always does well for me. So I've got Manny in, and I've just
What a
got
player he is.
their best player.
Yeah,
Agreed.
that's true. I have to agree with that. But anyway, sorry.
No, I've just got other. At the moment, I've got kind of players that I like. I think I do need to do a bit more research on the promoted team, see if there's anyone that could be a good find.
Okay. Yeah, so in terms of today's show, the way we're gonna sort of go through it, instead of each of us going through our team, we're just gonna start from the back, goalkeeper all the way up to the top, and then we'll all, each one of us name the player that we've got in that particular position, and then just discuss, the thought process behind it. So with me starting off, with it's a bit of a risky one, but in terms of the fixture, I think it should be fine. I've got Martinez in goals. For that, I looked at in terms of price as well. It's quite cheap, 4.5 million. So I think that's quite a decent amount for a keeper. It's not too pricey. And in terms of my second keeper, it's Martin, and it's a West Ham keeper, I believe. Um, David
Is
Martin.
this a get yourself as cheap a keeper as possible that
Yeah,
might not even play
yeah.
or it doesn't
This
matter?
is 4 million. So this was one where I tried to find one for 3 million, but I couldn't. So yeah, this was the cheapest one that I could essentially get into. But I think for
Yeah.
me personally, I think it's a good one to get in as well because obviously, we all know the form that Martinez was in come the end of last season. So I genuinely think he's going to continue in terms of starting. Whether he stays at Arsenal come October the 6th, I'm not sure. But I generally think he will start off against Fulham, and yeah, like I said, I think it's a good shout to have him at the price that he's at as well. And what about you, Nabu? Who have you got in as your shot stopper and the substitute shot stopper?
I've gone in for trusted Pope. Pope always makes saves and a number of saves. I've gone for him at the moment. Though I am monitoring Romero's movement if he makes a move. Because at the moment my backup is Nyland. I don't know if that's how you pronounce it properly, but the Aston Villa keeper. Because I think Heaton is injured, so if Aston Villa don't get a keeper, then he'll be there. He'll be in goals. But I'm monitoring Romero's situation.
Right. Okay. Okay. Yeah. With the United, the goalkeeping situation, kind of like Chelsea, it's a bit fluid because you got Aspilicueta, not Aspilicueta, Arrizabalaga, sorry, saying he's staying now. Shabs, who have you got in as your shot stopper and your number two?
Back up. Yeah, so I've thought about the team that I think can keep clean sheets without going to the most expensive. And I've decided that Mourinho is going to do bits this season. So I've got Loris in goal. And especially with the fixtures that they got starting off, I think they're okay. I am worried about the first game because it's
Yeah,
Everton
that
and some of the signings
uh,
they made.
that's one thing I kind of thought about. I know this is going to shock a lot of Arsenal fans, but uh, I did kind of think about Mourinho because we all know the type of football that he plays, and that did cross my mind in terms of getting Lloris in. But then when I saw the first fixture, that yeah, I was like Everton. They seem to be making big movements this transfer window. Whether it works out or not, I guess that's another question. But on paper, it does look like it will be a tough fixture for Tottenham.
I think like I always try and look at the first 5 or 6 just to see, because I don't want to always constantly have to swap a player out. So if I get like, for example, Allison in, the next game is Chelsea, I'm already worried about swapping him out. Whereas Loris, even though I'm worried about Everton, you're following up with Southampton, Newcastle, Manchester United, West Ham, Burnley, Brighton, and then West Brom. So it's a decent run of fixtures in there. So, and I think Mourinho early on can keep some like 1-0 clean sheets and things like that. Especially without pre-seasons and stuff. I just have a feeling that Tottenham might be okay early on. My second keeper, I like to have someone who does definitely start. So I've gone for Ryan of Brighton.
4.5
His
as well,
first
isn't
game
he?
is four
Yeah,
point
I
five.
had
So
him
his
in
first
and then
game
took
is
him out.
Chelsea.
Yeah,
So he's definitely going to be my bench for the first game. But I like someone
who can come on?
who can come on and actually starts, and I'm not wasting position in the game weeks that I don't want like Loris to play.
All right, okay.
And he does do his bit. He does do a lot of saves, so
Yeah,
he'll get
that
some
is
decent
true.
points, I think.
That's true because I even remember when Arsenal played Brighton last year, he made quite a few really good saves.
Yeah, he's a good shot stopper. So,
So
like Pope, he makes a lot of saves, just doesn't keep the clean
clean
sheets.
sheets,
So.
yeah. And now going to you, Nabi, in terms of your right back, who have you got in that slot? And I won't
Is
go
there
to
a
Nabi.
right back slot?
Oh, sorry, it looks like you dropped off. But anyway, sorry, you were saying.
Is there a right back slot? That was just defenders.
Just go
Okay,
through your defenders.
defenders then, yeah. Well, you said you've got
So,
3-5-3, didn't you?
well, that's my team. I'm not sure on what my team's going to be, but in terms of the squad, I've gone for Alexander Arnold straight in.
Yep, agreed
Hmm.
on that.
Uh,
Has to
I've
be.
I put a placeholder in until I realized that they don't have a game week. A game that game week it was Kyle Walker, City. That because I had Trent in, but then yeah, I started to run out of money pretty quickly, and then my defense was quite pricey, so I had to reduce it.
You know what I actually did when just as a side, when I was first setting up my team, I had it all set up. It was going good. I had 2 slots left, centre back and a striker. 12 and a half in the bank. Thought this is all right. Bought a £4 million defender. I thought got 8.5 million here for a striker. Brought in Jimenez. I thought this is looking good. Then I realised I had no goalkeepers and no money.
Wow, yeah, I can't
No
say that
wonder it was
happens,
too
but
easy then.
yeah, it makes sense.
Yeah, no
Yeah,
wonder it's going so
Yeah.
well.
I run out of money pretty quickly. To be fair, I think I did spend quite a bit in terms of my. I went for 4-3-3. The three in the middle and the three up top.
I've gone for a
Yeah,
3-4-3. I always prefer to have just the 3 defenders,
Yeah, to be fair, it
personally.
makes sense to be honest. To do it that way, but I'm usually like, a bit skeptical because with me, my issue with the midfield is I end up spending way too long trying to figure out who to put in midfields and who to transfer in. But sorry, Nabi, you were saying you have Trenton. Who else through your back line?
I have got Chilwell in because I do like Chilwell, and him being at Chelsea does increase his chances of clean sheets. Even though I think he has got an injury,
Does it?
which I guess I'll monitor. I think he's got a heel injury,
Yeah.
but
Yeah, I saw
yeah,
some
I'd
pictures
like to have
today. It looks like
Chilwell.
he's back in training. Because I saw whether he's back in with the team yet, I'm not sure. But I did see some footage of him running around some cones and through some hoops and stuff. But yeah,
Yeah,
just
so
to challenge you on that, I
what's
don't
his
think if you're saying that Chelsea are likely to keep a clean sheet, they conceded more than Arsenal last year.
Yeah, but
So
they've
but
actually bought like good defenders, Chilwell and Silva.
we just bought Gabriel and. But anyway, that's a different conversation. That's a completely different conversation for another day. Sorry.
Yeah, you guys have that conversation another
So
time.
you've got Chilwell and who else? Sorry.
Well, I think my main 3 defenders will be Chilwell, Alexander Arnold, and Egan from Sheffield United.
Right, okay,
See, I
Sheffield
had
United is a
Egan
good shot.
in, but I don't think they'll do as well this
I don't
year.
think they'll do that well this season as well. I was gonna go for is it Lautstrom? But he's probably midfield now this year, isn't he?
Yeah,
They've
I'm thinking they have put him in midfield
yeah
this year.
yeah. I was
But I
gonna go
just
for
don't think they're
Sheffield.
going to do it. I just don't think
Neither do
they'll
I.
do it.
Neither do I. Um, But what's
We'll
your
do it on
backline,
the
Shabs?
points over here.
So my main three, you'll be happy with this one. Ainsley Maitland-Niles
Uh-huh.
is one of them. I just feel like he's going to start after getting that contract. And with Bellerin rumoured to be leaving, I just feel like Maitland-Niles has a first-team spot. I don't know if you can clarify much on that.
Well, one thing I will say, he hasn't had a new contract. I'm not sure where you got that
sorry,
from.
as in he's staying.
Yeah,
He's not been sent out.
yeah.
That's what I
Well,
meant.
yeah.
But
As far as we understand, the club now do want him to stay, and I do see that he's now been put on FPL in the defender section now as well.
yeah, and I feel like it's a vote of confidence to say we'll start you. I don't
Yeah.
know if you're
But I
kind of
do agree
thoughts are
with
the
you
same.
with saying that one of him, Hector, or Ainsley Maitland now, someone has to go, and I do think it's going to be Hector. But yeah, that's a decent shot. The only thing I would say with AMN is he doesn't get a lot of crosses in, but I don't know when he played right wing back, that was under Emery, or right back, that was under Emery. So take
He seemed a bit more aggressive under Arteta
Arteta, yeah.
going
So
forward.
with that could be the potential thing that could see him transform in terms of his contribution in the final third. Who else you got on?
So I've got Trent,
Yeah,
obvious choice, best stats in the league going forward, and with Virgil van Dijk at centre back, you're going to keep some clean sheets there. I've got Lucas Digne. I really like him as a player. He does a lot going forward for Everton, and with their team this season, I feel like they're gonna make some good chances and play some attacking football. So I feel like he's a good shout to get some clean sheets and some goal scoring or assists, which I always prefer to have a defender, because if you just have a defender completely relying on the clean sheet, it's tough. So you need
hmm
one who can do some going forward.
yeah.
And my other two defenders that are like the more cheaper options are Newcastle's Lascelles. He's a pretty solid centre back, and the way Newcastle play, they defend really deep and stuff. There will be the odd game where they'll be able to get some clean sheets, and he does score a few goals from like corners and stuff. And I've gone for Casey from Leeds United as my other cheap
Is
defender.
that one on your bench, or I take it?
That
Yeah.
is one on my bench. I don't know too much about him yet, but I
Yeah.
do feel like Leeds, of the teams coming up, Leeds will be the one doing more and probably ending up higher in the table, in my opinion.
I think they'll
And
finish higher than
therefore, in terms
Sheffield
of cheap
United.
options, yeah, because I feel like that's what you need to consider when you're making your team. So, out of all the low league teams, or the lesser sides, if you want to call it, I feel like Leeds are going to do some good stuff. So that's why I brought a couple of Leeds players in, because obviously they'll be cheap.
In terms of
So that's my defense.
my defense, like I said, I've got Kyle Walker, but after having this discussion with you guys, I think I might switch to a back three now. I'm gonna go to. I've got Kyle Walker, Lucas Digne, Kieran Tierney, and Connor Cody. Obviously, like I said earlier at the start, I like to have similar to you, Shabs, players that also contribute in the final third, not just solely relying on clean sheets. Because, like you said, if
Yeah.
you concede, that's pretty much it. But with Arsenal, yeah, Kieran Tierney gets into enough crossing positions, even though I suppose he's playing sort of left centre back. But the way that how fluid the formation is, he does find himself down the line quite a few times to get crosses in. But yeah, and Luca Digne as well. Um, but yeah, like I said, with that back four, I think I'm going to change to a back three. Take Kyle Walker out. Not sure who to bring in though. That's the problem. I'll have a look at the fixtures, but it could potentially be a Liverpool player. Um, yeah, because yeah, at this current moment, I don't have a single Liverpool player in my team, which I think is a
Wow.
disadvantage to myself. But yeah, moving up to midfield now. Oh, actually, sorry. So yeah, that's my back four. And in terms of the defender on the bench for me, I've got Mings, Tyrone Mings. But again, he's another one that doesn't have a fixture. Um, game week one.
Question for you, actually.
Yeah.
Kieran Tierney, no matter how good he is, and if he does play every game, he'll get a lot of points. Do you not worry about his injury issues? For
No.
example, like in the Liverpool game, he just pulled up with cramp. I know it was just cramp,
hmm
but do you not worry that there will be a possible injury and it
So
affects? It just uses up a transfer if you have to.
I don't know if you watched or listened to. I think Robbie put it on a group chat podcast that Kieran Tierney was on. It was Open Goal. It was really really good. Even the listeners, I recommend to go and check it out. It was a really really good. It's quite insightful as well. Where essentially he talks about his injuries, and I'm not worried because even when he came to Arsenal, it's not like he's got the same recurring injury.
Mm.
He's been getting different injuries, like he had with his hernia, and then when it was West Ham at the London Stadium when we were playing, that was the latest injury he had with the Arsenal, and that was his shoulder. So again, it's not like he's getting the same recurring injury. It's just sort of been different injuries. That's the only, I guess, positive to take out of it. Um, but yeah, it
So
will be
Arteta
what.
going to give him 90 minutes every game, do you think? Or there
I
will be
don't see why
games
not.
where
Because
he comes
even with the
off?
Liverpool game, I'm not surprised because it was getting up and down the pitch. And again, we'd
Yeah,
only had
no.
2 days training, so that's kind of expected in terms of him pulling up. I'm not too. If it was sort of, I don't know, game week 5, game week 6, and then that's happening, yeah, that's when I'll be a little bit worried. We're kind of the season's up and running now, and just sort of pulling up with cramp this early on. But yeah,
Yeah.
due to the fact that that was our first sort of serious um, competitive game in preseason, I'm not too worried about it, to be honest.
How
Um,
much is he?
he is 5.5. Yeah, 5.5. So it's
How
quite
much is
cheap.
Mings?
No, no. Tierney.
No, but how much is Mings?
Oh, Mings is 5.
Yeah, you've got
Okay.
an expensive defense.
Yeah, yeah. That's what I'm saying. I think I'm gonna have to sort of rejig it. Because even Luka Digne is what 6, and I had Trent in there as well, who's 7.5 now. He just keeps going up and up and up each season. It's actually
Yeah.
getting ridiculous. But anyway,
Him and Robbo are the top two, aren't they, in
yeah,
price?
going into midfield now. My midfield, starting with the ones on the pitch, I've got 3 in the middle. I've got Mount, Kante, and Aubameyang. Uh, Little caveat with my team: some of the players I may have in there may not make sense. Like Kante, he's not a points player for Fantasy Premier League. I did pull this together when I was having my dinner, so that's just sort of my caveat. But yeah, I've got Kante in there, but I will probably swap him out, to be honest. But I think Mount will stay because it was a Brighton away first game. I was gonna get Ziyech in, but he looks like he's injured. So I decided not to bring him in. But yeah, Kanto probably will come out, to be honest. But yeah, I've got Aubameyang, and he's the one that I've also captained. And I think I will stick with him as my captain come the start of the season. I don't see him shifting at all. He's not gonna move out of my team because, like you said, the fact that you get 5 points per goal from him, being a striker, but actually being listed as a midfield, it's one to take advantage of. And in terms of my bench, I've got Lalana as an
Yeah,
extra
my guy.
my player to come on. But again, with him, I don't know, could potentially. I don't know. I haven't decided. I could keep him. I'll see. I'll see.
How
But
much
yeah,
is he?
with Lalana, he is 6.5.
Not bad, not bad. You get a very good player for that price.
Yeah.
By the way, to all our listeners, do not get Kante in your team
Yeah, he's not a
ever.
points player. That would be similar to like getting Makalele or what's his name, Essien in your team. Is or Fabinho in
Yeah,
your
he's
team
not. He's
currently?
not one for the fantasy football.
No, no, he's a great player, great stats and everything, but he won't get you many points on
No.
fantasy. So yeah, don't go down my route. Like I said, I'll be taking him out anyway. But what about you, Shabs? What have you got in the middle of the park?
So I've got Aubameyang. Same as your reason. Has to be in. Um, Probably had to be in anyways, even as a striker, let alone as a midfielder now, which we can take advantage of. Another one I got in. I said earlier about how I think Spurs will do some decent results early on under Mourinho, and with the games that they have, I feel like they'll get some goals in them. So I've got Son. He's always a big goal scorer for Spurs. If they're doing well, he'll be always getting points. Great player. Would love him in Liverpool. So yeah, he always does bits. Another one I like and I think will come strong this season is Southampton, and I've got Redmond in from them. Plays every game, always attacks, always does a lot of dribbles, very dangerous at the front end of the pitch. So I think he'll get decent points for them.
Question
And
on that with Southampton. I guess this applies to all teams, to be honest, not just Southampton. Because I've been thinking about
yeah,
this in terms of Arsenal. Like, do you think the teams, in terms of performances, systems, etc., are going to be that much different compared to last year? Because obviously the coaches haven't had the time that they would like in preseason, because they normally get, what, 2 months or just over in preseason to work on a system, or if they see something that they need to improve on from prior season. But they haven't had that time. So how do you think that's going to impact, for example, in this case, Redmond? Because in terms of last year, I can't remember at the top of my head what his contribution was like, but I wouldn't expect too much different from him this year.
I think their tactical style or anything will change. I think, like you said, they'd not had much of a preseason. Normally, you'd have 2 or 3 months over the summer where you might completely change how you want to play, and you'll have those 2 3 months to work on that new system. Whereas I think because of such a short summer, they'll just stick to how they were doing it. Um, but he's a cheaper option, and Southampton are quite threatening going forward, I feel. He's always up there
Well, I would say they're only threatening
around
because of
Ings.
one player, and Adam loves this
But
guy. One
but
player only.
you can get assists. You can get assists, and he's
That's
a
fair
very
enough. That's
creative
fair.
player.
That's fair. But anyway, sorry, continue.
And my other big option that I feel like people should go for because he's very cheap, and I feel like this will be a big season for him is Naby Keita. 5.5 million in the midfield.
He's
I
got a bit
feel
of a
like
Kante though.
no, he's nothing like a Kante.
Yeah, it would play. I would say his ball progression is a little bit. I don't want to say
He plays
better, but
much higher up the
yeah,
pitch.
that's what I was gonna say. Ball progression, and yeah, it tends to find himself in more attacking positions than
I know
Kante
he,
tends.
I know he scored that goal against Chelsea, but apart from that, I'm not seeing much from him attacking wise.
But if you see him
It'll,
towards the end of the season, he has started playing really well.
He was our best player, I think, post lockdown. Since Project Restart, I would say he was our best player.
I think that's a decent shout. To be fair, I hadn't thought of him. That is a decent shout. Because I do think he could potentially get quite a few goals this season. How much is he?
I feel like he 5.5. So I feel like he gets a lot of starts this season for Liverpool now. After what he'd done Project Restart, I think he just needed time to bed in with the style and everything. He will play further forward in that kind of midfield, and I think he'll get a lot of assists and goals here and there. So I think he's one to watch as a very cheap option coming from a Liverpool side. So to have a 5.5 million midfielder coming from a Liverpool side is pretty decent, I think.
And does that include your bench as well? I don't think you've mentioned your
Oh
bench.
no, one more. I've one more midfielder got. So I got four starting, and then the one on my bench is another Leeds player, which is Calvin Phillips. So
Oh,
obviously he
right,
got
okay.
an England call up.
Hmm.
I thought, what better than to just put him in my team?
Fair enough.
Basically, the reason. If he's got an England call up, he must be good. So I'm putting him in my team.
Is that why you got Ainsley in there as well?
With his England call up.
Yeah.
I knew a lot more about him. Leeds obviously
I,
came up from
I,
the
I
Championship.
was just pulling your leg. Anyway, and I'll be moving on.
You got Connor Cody, right?
Yeah. And now I'll be moving into your midfield. What have you got on there?
Well, Mane, as I've mentioned, I've gone similar to Sheehan. I've gone for a Southampton midfielder, but I've gone for Ward Prowse.
All right,
His
okay.
free kicks.
Yeah,
Is
set
that what?
pieces
Yeah.
essentially takes everything, doesn't he?
Lethal on the free kicks.
Mm.
And I've got Son as well. And then on the other two, I've got Harvey Barnes from Leicester.
Good
That's a bit
shout.
of a question mark, but he's in there at the moment. And I've gone for Ollie Burke from West Brom.
Know much about him?
From what I've seen him, I've seen him a bit. He's a good player, but he's just not kind of found his way yet because he's on loan to Celtic. couple of seasons ago. It didn't really work out for him. But I think if he starts and he plays like he can play, because he's a tricky winger, I think he can get himself a few assists, get some points for me.
And your fourth on the bench?
Well, he'll be on the bench. My four at the moment starting are Barnes, Mane, Ward-Prowse, Son.
Son. Oh, he's
Mane's
got
your other
sub.
one, yeah.
Yeah, fair.
So you've not gone Aubameyang?
Well, I mean, I'm thinking about it because obviously my normal rule is don't get Arsenal players because they're all bottlers. Obviously,
Oh my
Aubameyang is a
god.
slight exception to that, and the fact that he's a midfielder
I'm not gonna
is
bite.
very
I'm not gonna
tempting.
bite. I'm not gonna bite.
To be fair to Naby, he done a lot better than you last year, so that tactic seems to be working.
Yeah, but I didn't. It's not like I had Arsenal players in abundance in my team last year. I didn't, and you know this.
You
I
had
Well,
didn't.
more
you
than you
did.
should have. You had more than you
you
should
had,
have.
yeah, you had Tierney at the start of last season as well. He didn't even play.
Oh yeah, that's because he got injured. Yeah, I didn't know that. Okay, I
He
didn't know.
came in injured.
Yeah,
He signed injured.
no, but the start of the season he was not playing. I
Yeah,
remember that actually.
yeah.
And yeah, Nabi, starting with you. What's your front line, including your one on the bench as well?
Well, the team at the moment they'll all be starting. I've gone for Werner. Werner looks like an exciting prospect, so I've got him in. Obviously, Chelsea have got a few, but I'm going for Werner. I've got Kane in at the moment
Oh
because,
right, okay.
well, I
Sorry,
know he got over it, but he always had that record where he never scored in August, and
I
now
think
he's
it's
starting
coming
in
back.
September.
Oh, we're in September now. Sorry, that was me saying I think
Yeah,
it's coming back. Um, right. Okay, no, that's fair. Yeah, I actually, to be fair, I liked his banter last year when he scored in August finally, and he just tweeted, "I never liked August anyway." It's, was it last year or the year before? Sorry, I can't remember.
I
Uh,
think it was only last year was when he broke that duck.
Also, it would have been the year
It was a
before then
winter
when he
fella.
tweeted that. What about you, Shabs? Who's your front line?
So I've gone with the same as Naby. I think Werner's gonna do bits. He's already scored one goal in pre-season. It doesn't obviously matter too much, but he's got a goal, and he scored for Germany the other day. So his confidence should be high coming into the season. My other two are a bit cheaper options. I've gone for Antonio, who come the end of
West Ham.
last
Oh,
season
he
with West
really
Ham
turned it
done
on.
very well.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah, he really turned it on. The only problem with West Ham is they seem to turn off very quickly as well, and
Yeah.
then go on a massive long run
I
of
think it almost
losing
depends
games.
on Antonio's form. If he's not playing well, West Ham generally don't play that well.
Yeah, so I'm a bit worried about that option, but if anyone's going to get points from West Ham, it's Antonio. And they've
He
got a
was more
home game
tempting
against
last season, wasn't
Newcastle.
he?
Sorry?
I was gonna. He was more tempting last season as a midfielder.
Yeah.
He was more tempting last season, yeah, but in terms of what money I had left and stuff, I felt like he was a good option for me. And they got Newcastle at home first game, and obviously you have to take the fixtures into account as well. And then my second option, my third, sorry, striker is Mitrovic. He's obviously played in the Premier League before.
Mhm.
Fulham's best player,
The only
I
thing I
think.
would say with Mitrovic, as well as he gives you the option for goals, but he could also get sent off. That's the one thing
He can,
he's
but he's
very
playing
similar to
Arsenal first
Balotelli
game.
in that sense that you don't actually know what you're gonna get from him. He could get you an absolute screamer, score a double, but then in the same match get sent off.
Yeah, but he is playing Arsenal first game, so I have a feeling a couple of goals are coming.
Do you know, I think you guys are genuinely gonna be surprised. Like you're saying this with the smirk on your face, but you know we kept out your best attackers at the
Couldn't
weekend.
keep out Minamino though. Scored his first goal.
But we still won the match though, and even anyway,
No,
again,
he didn't.
pardon.
He
You
didn't
won
win the
on
match.
penalties.
He won the penalties.
But yeah, that's part of the match though, isn't it? The whole
You
match.
didn't win in 90 minutes though.
Yeah, if you're
In a
gonna
Premier
be
League
that
game, that would
specific.
be a draw.
Anyway, we walked away with the trophy. We're getting sidetracked here. That's not. The, if you really wanna, we're gonna really get into this discussion.
He's the kind of striker.
We're really going to get into this discussion, not in the next pod, but the pod after. We're going to do a season review, expectations, etc., and we're going to have Callum, our resident Chelsea fan,
A
also jump
preview.
on. So you do not want to miss that. Make sure you tune in for that as well, because I can feel a few things already bubbling nicely here. But anyway, with my, sorry, Shabs, was that you done with your front line?
No, I was just gonna say in past years, Mitrovic is the kind of striker that causes Arsenal a lot of problems.
Past years, yeah.
Obviously, yeah, I agree that Arsenal have changed, but in past years, he's the kind of striker who has caused problems, and he is quite clinical in front of goal when he gets a chance. He's aggressive. He's like a kind of Troy Deeney style of striker,
Yeah,
I'd
and
say, or a Diego Costa. Those kind of very physical, in your face, who get loads of headers, put his foot in, that kind of stuff. So yeah, I do worry about the red card. But I feel like he's, in terms of the cheaper options, I think he's a good one.
fair. And your bench?
No, that's just my three strikers. I
Your
don't
three
have any of
strikes.
them on the bench.
All right, cool.
Yeah, I always play with three.
For me, I've gone Aguero, but obviously he's gonna come out. Not got a game the first game week, and I've got Timo Werner as well. Pretty much for the same reasons as you guys. I mean, I don't really need to explain why I have Aguero in there. You know, just Aguero doing Aguero things, really. And
Yep.
then the other one that I'm a little bit worried about because of how they don't really score that many goals. Last season they didn't score a lot of goals. Was Ayu from Crystal Palace. The first game is Southampton. But yeah, yeah, that one I put in. Just it was a bit of a cheaper option. Initially, I had Adam's favorite player, Danny Ings, in there, but then I was running out of money pretty quickly, so I had to make a few cuts.
You got to take risks sometimes, though, don't you? You
Yeah,
got to
yeah,
take risks.
yeah. But well, to be fair, I'm gonna be taking out Aguero anyway, so I'll be able to bring in Danny Ings. But yeah, and then on the
Yeah, true.
bench, I've got Greenwood, Mason Greenwood. I think he's not got a game the first game week, but I think I'm just gonna keep him in there.
He's a midfielder as well, isn't he?
Is he?
Greenwood, I'm
Yeah.
sure, is a midfielder.
Oh yeah, so
7.5
sorry.
million.
So yeah, he is a midfielder. Also, I've got no strikers on the bench then. Yeah, because the way I'm looking
Who are
at
your
it,
three?
Aguero currently, Timo Werner, and Jordan Ayew.
Oh,
Oh,
yeah,
cool.
yeah. My
So it
third
looks like
striker is Andy
Werner's the
Carroll.
one.
Andy
Andy
Carroll.
Carroll.
Andy Carroll.
This is not after the clip that you reposted of him scoring that. Because I saw your comment as well. He was like, "This is why he's
That
great for the
worldie.
fantasy Premier League."
Why Andy Carroll? Explain that one.
I mean, it's a bit of a placeholder, but I might even go for it. I think Newcastle have got okay fixtures. If he starts them, I think he could do well. He will get injured, but
He
it's just
does
all
not
about
know how to
capturing
play
it in that
football.
time that he's playing. He knows
Yeah,
how to
to
play
be honest,
regular
like
football.
he just looks like he's just winging it most of the time whenever he's on the pitch.
Yeah, he does not know how to play
It looks like
football.
he's just winging it. But yeah, I think for me, definitely the ones that will definitely come up for me, three. I've got Aguero, I've got Kante, and I've got Walker. After having this discussion with you guys, and I'm also gonna change my formation to 3-4-3. Yeah, I'll go for that. I don't know. Has anything
You
else
guys,
changed for you guys?
are you guys going to wild card week 2?
More often
Nah.
than not, I do end up wildcarding week 2 after seeing how everything's changed completely to what I expected.
I
I'm
think
going to try my best this time not to.
what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna hold out until the transfer window closes, and then
I was
use.
going to, yeah, I was going to ask
That's when
what
I'm gonna
week
use my wild card.
coincides with post window.
So let me just have a
It's like
quick.
one of the ones in October, isn't it?
So game week 4 is
5?
Saturday
4?
the third of October, and then 3 days
Oh,
after,
it'll
I
be the
think
one
that's when the window
after.
shuts. The 3 days after,
Yeah,
that's when the window
yeah.
shuts. So it'll be the game week after that will be game week 5. That's when I would have made my Oh wow, and that's a tasty fixture. Arsenal are playing City at the Etihad.
I'll get some City players in for that. Can get Aguero back.
And that's a weekend that you've got Everton Liverpool as well.
I'll get Mane in for that as well.
Yeah. But yeah, that was essentially um the general breakdown for that. So I guess I'm not sure if anything has changed for you guys. Have you changed anything from since we've had the discussion, or are you gonna stick to it?
I feel like Tierney might be over Maitland-Niles actually,
Yeah,
because
I would do that.
if you do say he's going to start every game,
I think Tierney
he's
would
more likely
definitely
to
more
get the
likely to
assists
start.
and stuff.
Yeah.
So I feel like that's one for me. And then I'm going to look into my Leeds players and Antonio and see if I am going to jig anything around there.
Anything for you, Nabi? You've changed?
I'm tempted to see what James Rodriguez's price is going to be if he signs as expected.
I think it will. It's one of those. I think it's a matter of time, isn't it? Before it's announced. Um,
He'll come in quite high, won't he?
yeah.
I
Well,
feel.
it seems generally when players sign, it seems like the starting price is about 9.5. Um,
Yeah, especially with someone of his reputation of the past.
yeah.
He hasn't done huge amounts for a while, but in terms of past reputation, he'll come in as a big name player.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
What
So
about your guys' team names? What have you gone for?
oh, you saw me yesterday. I was panicking, thinking I couldn't change my team name. I was honestly having a mini meltdown. I went for Obama who, but then I changed it to Salt and Pepper. That's what I've decided to go for now. Salt and Pepper.
So and Pepe.
Yeah.
That was like Obama woohoo or something.
Sorry?
I thought it was like Obama moohoo woohoo juhoo.
No, definitely. That's definitely not. If Troops was to hear you say that, it would definitely sue you for that. Definitely not it. What have you
What
guys
about
gone
you,
for?
Nabi?
It looks like he's
What have you
frozen.
gone for, Nabi?
Yeah.
Oh, I just go for
He's talking.
I go for the same name every year, Nabination.
Not been.
Nabi Nation.
Have you decided yet, Shams? Because I remember yesterday you were throwing some awful ideas into the group chat.
Yeah, so I've gone with one of my awful ones and gone for Data to Believer for now.
No.
Which I feel like if I can win
Oh.
one of the leagues.
Yeah, exactly.
Wait, if I can win one of the leagues, what a name that would look like.
Yeah. And anyway, so for the listener,
Shouldn't even accept you into the league with that name.
yeah, just to let you know, we do have a bit of a forfeit that we've got. So we've got our own mini fantasy football league. The three of us that are in there. I'm gonna see if Callum and Robbie, who will also be appearing on the pod as we go throughout the year, if they want to join as well. But the main competition will be between us three. The winner. We haven't actually decided what the winner gets. The winner doesn't get. It's the person who finishes bottom, then has to buy a rival top. So, for example, if I finish bottom, I'll have to buy a Tottenham top and then make an appearance wearing a Tottenham top. Shihab, it'll be Manchester United because Everton don't count. And
Yep.
with Nabi, I don't
It
know.
should be Liverpool.
Yeah, with Nabi, like I can imagine City doesn't hurt as much for you as um, Liverpool, unless I'm wrong. I don't know.
What would be the worst top to wear for you, Nabi?
Arsenal.
See, that's
he is
the only United fan
obsessed
to
with
say that.
Arsenal. He is obsessed with Arsenal. I'm telling you. To be fair, as an Arsenal fan, that's a compliment. I would take that as a compliment. The fact that you've got all these giants that are rising up around you in City and Liverpool, but your
I'm
main
not saying I
focus
see them
is
as a
still Arsenal.
rival, but they're the team that I just would. They're the top I would want to wear the least.
Can I ask?
Over
Let's
Liverpool.
get into this. Let's get into this. What is? I've never actually really asked this. What is it about Arsenal that you don't like?
I just
And on
think they're
that
all
note,
built
thank you
up
very
more
much,
than
ladies
they
and
are.
gentlemen, for tuning in. No, I'm joking. I'm
They're
joking.
built
I'm
up more
joking.
than they are. They're not that good. They always suck. They've not won a title for a long time.
Neither
Yes,
of
they've
you.
won
Neither
the
of you.
cups, but they've not won. We've not been in contention for anything for a very long time. We've won a league title more recently than you have. You've never been in a European final. No, not never won a European Cup. Been in one European,
Two European finals, actually.
two
Get it
Euro,
right. Yeah.
two European finals. Never won the cup though.
Hmm.
Only the three league titles overall. Your team
Premier League. If we're talking league
always
titles in
falls
general,
apart
it's not. It's
eventually.
not. It's I think it's 13 if we're just talking league titles in total.
We're only talking Premier League.
But well, you just said league titles, so I just wanted to make sure we've got a
And
clear
Arsenal fans,
distinction.
everyone knows I meant Premier League. And the Arsenal fans always are just the worst. They always get also over the top over their team. They always bash other teams that are better than them. So yeah, that's where my strong dislike of Arsenal comes from.
Well, anyway, it sounds like a. I don't know. What
It's
do you
a
make of that,
personal. It
Ships?
sounds very
Yeah,
personal.
it does sound really personal, doesn't it?
Because 99% of the United fans would say Liverpool.
Hmm.
Naby's the first United fan I've ever
Same.
heard
Like,
of in my
do
entire
you know what the
life to
thing
say
is, right?
Arsenal.
I could comfortably say if we were to say between Tottenham and United, a lot of Arsenal fans. Obviously, with United, you had the rivalry that was intensified between Wenger and Sir Alex, but when it actually comes to in terms of actual rivalries, Arsenal fans generally wouldn't care, wouldn't even blink twice at United. It'll just be Tottenham. Whereas, yeah, with Naby seems fixated on what Arsenal are doing, which, like I said,
I'm
it's a
not
compliment.
fixated.
We would, no, no, it's fine.
I just
You've made your
no.
position clear. We'll take
They're
that.
not that good. That's
we'll
my.
take,
They're
we'll
not
take
that
that.
good.
They're good
They're
enough to
No,
be
always.
no,
your
okay,
biggest
listen.
rival, though.
You were not that good, but you've since Sir Alex Ferguson left, like I put it in the group chat, you've only finished above us twice since Sir Alex, but we're not that good, and we've won more trophies than you in that time, but we're not that good.
You're not.
How does it?
There's
Anyway,
one
Neither
player.
neither
yeah,
team is that good,
yeah,
right?
Rely on the
That's
one
one
we'll leave
player
it at
to
that.
get you through it all.
We'll leave it at that. So, we'll have another pod coming out on Monday. We're gonna be a season transfer roundup, just where we essentially just chat about all the movements that have been happening with Manchester United, Arsenal. Nothing yet happening with Liverpool. And we'll also
Perfect.
on the pod that comes out next Friday, we're gonna have, like I said, when we're recording, we're gonna have Callum, our resident Chelsea fan, on here, and so he'll also give us an update as to sort of his expectations for the season. And yeah, I don't know if you guys want to add anything
Arsenal's
else
record against the top six in the Premier League says it all. Haven't they had like one win in the last 10 years or something?
away from home.
They suck.
Anyway,
all right.
ladies
So
and
is it
gentlemen,
agreed?
boys and girls,
Naby's going to be an Arsenal top, yeah.
yeah, okay, that will be that. Now will be an Arsenal top. Also, just to clarify, yeah, and the other one will be, so whoever the loser is will have to wear their rival's top. For Nabi, we're not Arsenal is not his rival, but he would have to wear an Arsenal top, and also issue out an apology. We haven't decided whether it's going to be a video apology or not. But anyway, I'm also gonna put all our socials in the descriptions. You'll be able to get me, Shihab, and Nabi on Twitter, and we'll also put our main page for our Instagram. So, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for tuning in this week for our episode 3. And until next time, thank you.